Hello, Zero Yeti here, and welcome back to another Dinosaur Fact Fridays. This time we will be talking about the Flaming Cliffs Formation in Mongolia, also known as the Flaming Cliffs of Ulaanbaatar. The Flaming Cliffs are part of the Chota Formation in central Mongolia, and it was discovered in 1922 by an expedition sponsored by the American Museum of Natural History. While the site is remote and difficult to excavate, it contains some excellent bone beds rich in late Cretaceous fossils. This is famous where you see famous creatures such as Velociraptor, Gallimimus, Homo cephalopa, which is an odd choice to include in this game. That's one of the more lesser known dinosaurs. That's actually a Pachycephalosaurid. And of course, Velociraptor, Gallimimus were go-tos because they're in the franchise. But I'm actually kind of interested in why they didn't include like Protoceratops, which is a very famous dinosaur from the region. Same with Oviraptor, which is known as the egg thief, but it actually should be known as like the mother lizard because the nests of the oviraptors where they thought the raptors were stealing eggs. It's actually of mothers protecting the nest. Other dinosaurs found in the area of the Mongolian sands are Torvosaurus, which is a tyrannosaur, and the oddball Therizinosaurus, which I just find fascinating. They're the herbivores. They're the herbivorous theropods with like the giant claws that can murder things. Speaking of dinosaurs, you might notice that we're in a new park. And this is partly due to I had to reset because my last file failed. So I'm going to give you a brief tour of this park. In this park we have, this is what I call the Jurassic section. And this is the Jurassic, and then we have the Flaming Cliffs area. And we start off with, we have Ceratosaurus, which is a medium-sized theropod dinosaur from the late Jurassic, mid to late Jurassic. And then we have Dinosaurus, a small ornithischian from the late Jurassic. And these are from the Morrison Formation. And then right here is the infamous Brachiosaurus, which is also from the Morrison Formation. We did a whole episode about them before. I have a decent amount of them in this lakeside enclosure. And then we have over here, we have a fairly large pack of Dilophosaurs, a medium-sized theropod dinosaur from the early Jurassic. They're actually their own family of Dilophosauridae. And these are supposed to be Dilophosaurus walkeri, I believe. And they're very film accurate, but not particularly accurate scientifically because Dilophosaurus was 10 feet tall. Not these little tiny things that the Jurassic Park series keeps feeding you. And then in here we have the Stegosaurus herd, which is 4. Let's take a look at the alpha right there. The head's a little lacking animation, but overall, pretty decent dinosaur. And the Stegosaurus. But let's get to the focus of the episode, which is our 3 resident dinosaurs. As you can see here is the raptor paddock. And then this, I call this like Velociraptor Valley. Which, so you look at the obvious Velociraptor. Yeah, there's obvious thing about the Jurassic Park series is the Jurassic Park Velociraptors are more closely to what we would consider like Dakotaraptors or even Deinonychus, although they don't have the crest on their heads, in size than Velociraptors were. Velociraptors that you see in the Mongolian formation, those raptors are only like 3 feet tall. And 3 feet tall, I think like 6 feet long. They absolutely hunt in packs. They absolutely probably jumped like that. They also noticeably had feathers. We know this. Everyone knew what T-Rex and Triceratops were. before the Velociraptor, before the Jurassic Park franchise, and Stegosaurus. Those are the big names. But I think the real breakout stars of the Jurassic Park franchise are the raptors, the Compsognathus, and the Brachiosaurus. Because now those are household names because of the Jurassic Park franchise. But we have 4 raptors in this park, all female. Look at them drink. But obviously, they would have had feathers. These were very closely related birds. Most theropod dinosaurs had feathers, with the exception of maybe the Carnosaurs and probably the Dilophosaurus, Coelophysis, the early theropod dinosaurs. But like your Therizinosaurs, your Plesiosaurs, your Raptors, your Tyrannosaurs, all of those had feathers. So theropod dinosaurs that probably really didn't have feathers were like, obviously, why am I doing that? Obviously, your raptors did. And other animals that probably had feathers are your raptors, but your earlier ones like Ceratosaurus and especially Dilophosaurus, because Ceratosaurus is actually, descendants of Ceratosaurus make up the Carnotaur family. They're a split off lineage of them. That's where you see all the horns and stuff going from. That's why Ceratosaurus has the 3 horns, and Carnotaurus has the 2 horns, and there's Megalosaurus and others, Jungosaurus. Those have horns and crests. And Dilophosaurus, of course, they had crests too, but they were noticeably different. I love that animation detail. Why is that not on all of the theropod dinosaurs? But also, this snout is wrong. They should have more of a hooked snout than this weird late theropod snout. But obviously, but those ones probably didn't have feathers. What's going on? Thunderstorm? Okay. So let's throw the park into lockdown. Dinosaurs were a little bit bigger than they were in the Jurassic Park franchise. They're seen as about ostrich size in the first movie. And then in Jurassic World, they're more realistic in size. These were creatures that were probably 10 feet long. The Gallimimus, they were omnivores. They weren't true herbivores. They were omnivores. They'd go after lizards, and they would go after lizards, small mammals, eggs, as well as eating seeds and grass. They were very bird-like, obviously, and then you can see it in like the coevolution spectrum. There's no wonder like dinosaurs turned into birds. And so, but they flocked and they moved. And they're cool animals. I'm going to see how much. We have 4 velociraptors. We have 5 homocephals. We have 4 brachiosaurs, 2 ceratosaurs, 7 dilophosaurs, 10 drososaurs, 10 gallimimus, 5 homocephals, 5 stegosaurs, 4 velociraptors. Okay. So you have 10. And then let's check out those raptors again. I want to see how they're faring in this weather. A little bit upset, a little bit wandering. There's no evidence that Stegosaurus could rear up like it just did. But there's also not a lot of evidence that it couldn't. New findings on the Stegosaurus realize that they're not as weird of an outlier as we think they were initially, because the initial Stegosaurus most complete skeletons where we didn't have a lot of. We would usually find a front torso or we would find a back torso. We never really found all of them together, which means all of our proportions on Stegosaurus are really weird. A new finding, almost fully complete Stegosaurus, has revealed that their legs aren't nearly as off as they were. They're about the same size, honestly. So, like, back legs are a little bit bigger, but not compared to. But more in line with all the other Stegosaurs, so they weren't terrible. Okay, so now we get back to flaming cliff animals. This is why I was weirded about the inclusion of Homocephali. Now, I guess another Pachycephalosaur other than Pachycephalosaurs. They're Homocephali. I'm probably butchering that. It means even head, which you can see, like, they're very true to the dinosaur. They have really flat heads. So they weren't really used for butting. That's another common myth. Pachycephalosaurus, I'll probably cover in the Pachycephalosaurus video, but they never butted heads. That probably killed them. What Pachycephalosauridae did was they would ram each other's on the flanks. So like they ran for the hips or for the ribs, not each other's heads. They were less like goats and more like horses, maybe. Another thing about Pachycephalosauridae, which I thought was very interesting, is they're actually fairly closely related to the ceratopsians. So it's hypothesized that ceratopsians were just like Pachycephalosaurs that grew their heads for this defense to the point where their heads were so heavy they were obligate quadrupeds because of it, which is why ceratopsian limbs don't look like their back limbs. Like their front limbs are more in tune with the Pachycephalosaurus limbs, or like they're more like a Pachycephalosaurus limbs than a Hadrosaurus limbs. So they have to sit on the ground to be there, but in order to support their head. So they're more like front limbs that were grasping, adapted to be support limbs other than just support limbs that developed to be grasping, like you see in some sauropods, I think. Unlike other definitely, now the thing with the Homocephali, the genus was first discovered in like 1974 by Ozemusk and Teresmareski. I can't pronounce that; they're Russian. They grew about 6 feet long, and we knew certainly they were herbivores. Unlike other definitely adult Pachycephalosaurs, we're seeing that a lot with Pachycephalosaurs, is some of them, what we thought were species, like Dracorex, might have just been juvenile specimens of adults. So the thought is that this Pachycephalosaur, the Homocephali, may actually be a juvenile or subadult stage of the Phrynocephali, which is also found in Mongolia. So I just think that's interesting. It's always interesting to learn more about dinosaurs. It's not exact science. We learn more as more fossils are found. And we learn more about Yeti and how like a baby chimpanzee and an adult chimpanzee don't look similar by just a bone standpoint. You have to factor in the sponginess of the bone and how they'll grow and mold as they grow up. And we find that with like baby birds and everything. Like they're not like their parents. They change. They're not all vertebrates are like reptiles where they just look like mini versions of the adults. The species of Homocephali is noted for having unusually broad pelvis, which suggests that some paleontologists theorize that they might have actually given birth to live young. As suggested, it was to protect vital organs during the flanking, where they would ram each other's flanks. Let's get back to the star of the show. These raptors have to do near death of me. But we know about, that's why I'm surprised, like, the fact Protoceratops was not. Raptors always bring up, why is it Protoceratops in this game? Because one of the most best preserved fossils of any dinosaur is actually a Velociraptor and Protoceratops locked in combat. Like they kill each other and were buried by a subsequent sandstorm. Anyway, I love snapshots like history like that, where just the three snapshots of animals living their lives frozen in time, like the mammoth trapped in ice. Well, I think that's going to be it for this episode of the Flaming Cliffs, of Dino Fact Fridays of the Flaming Cliffs. We'll be back sometime I think next time we're probably going to bring up Hell Creek Formation because that's Ore Master's favorite dinosaur, Triceratops and Tyrannosaurus Rex. So we'll probably do those next. But I'll keep you posted on the update of this park. I'm really liking the layout of this park so far. You got visitor center, then you have the Jurassic area, and then you go up and you start getting the Cretaceous. And I'm probably gonna do Tanganora beds over here. Probably put the Kentrosaurus in with their bigger cousins, the Stegosaurus. But that's all in due time. Bye.